Hi everybody, Judy here. Today we're continuing our discussion of Dr. Michael Greger's book, How Not to Die. This is a thorough review of his book. It is in no way intended to be a substitute for reading the book. I highly recommend that you get this book and put it on your bookshelf and read it and have it as a reference tool. It can be very helpful to everyone. Chapter 9 is How Not to Die from Blood Cancers. Blood cancers can be referred to as being like liquid tumors, since the cancer cells circulate throughout the body rather than being concentrated in a solid mass in one area. There are three main types. We've got leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma. And extensive studies have found that those following a plant-based diet have been found to be less likely to develop all forms of cancer combined, with the greatest protection being against blood cancers. Man, that says a lot. The development of blood cancers among those who follow vegetarian diets is almost half that of those who eat meat. That kind of sums up everything right there, but now we'll get into some details. What not to do. Do not eat meat. Individuals who eat meat have a far greater chance of developing some type of blood cancer than those who do not eat meat. Next point, avoid eating chicken and other poultry. In a huge study, including over 400,000 adults in 10 countries, and who were followed for about 9 years, the researchers found that poultry consumption was associated with the greatest increased risk of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, follicular lymphoma, and beta cell lymphomas. There's another study as well. The EPIC study found that risk increased between 56 and 280% for every 50 grams of poultry consumed. Now, for example, for reference sake, a cooked boneless chicken breast may weigh as much as 384 grams. So the 50 grams is not very much. Researchers speculate the reason for the increased cancer risk from poultry may be a cancer-causing virus found in the flesh. Next point, do not take antioxidant supplements. If you're not one for eating fruits and vegetables, don't think that taking an antioxidant supplement like vitamin C or beta-carotene will substitute for taking real foods that contain them. Such supplements have been tested and they don't appear to work in fighting oxidation in the body, which leads to the development of cancer. What to do? Eat more plant foods. All this kind of ties together, doesn't it? If you've been a lifelong meat eater and cannot make a sudden dietary switch to a meatless diet, simply start by incorporating more whole plant foods into your day. Plant-based diets have been associated with nearly half the risk of blood cancers compared with meat-eating diets. Man, that says a lot. Next point, focus on cruciferous vegetables. Sulforaphane is one of the most active compounds in cruciferous vegetables. It has been shown in many research studies to ward off cancer. It's been shown to kill human leukemia cells in a petri dish while having little impact on the growth of normal cells. So there is nothing to fear with eating a lot of cruciferous vegetables. These include broccoli, cauliflower, kale, collard greens, watercress, bok choy, kohlrabi, rutabaga, turnips, arugula, radishes, wasabi, and cabbage. They all have that health-promoting compound. Next point, you want to focus on antioxidant-rich foods. A diet high in antioxidants has been associated with a significantly lower risk of lymphoma. It means focusing on a lot of fruits of all types, especially berries, and also dark leafy greens, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and even some beans like kidney beans, small red beans, pinto beans, and black beans, and even pecans. Next point, include the spice turmeric in your foods. Curcumin, a component of the spice turmeric, has been shown to at least slow down and maybe even stop the ability of multiple myeloma cells to multiply, reducing the risk of developing the disease. All of these points point to one thing: cut down on the meat and load up on the fruits and veggies. Next chapter. Chapter 10, how not to die from kidney disease. Our kidneys work around the clock, processing up to 150 quarts of blood every day, 24 hours, making the 1 to 2 quarts of urine that we expel each day. Without the kidneys functioning properly, waste products accumulate in the blood, leading to symptoms like weakness, shortness of breath, confusion, abnormal heart rhythms, but sometimes no symptoms at all. Kidney failure, of course, leads to either transplant or dialysis, and those on dialysis often live less than 3 years, and kidney donors are in short supply. Therefore, it is really helpful to try to protect our kidneys throughout our lives. What not to do: don't consume animal protein, animal fat, nor cholesterol. Researchers have found that those 3 components are associated with a declining kidney function. Next point, don't consume excess table sugar or high fructose corn syrup. Consumption of both of these common sweeteners has been found to increase blood pressure and uric acid levels, both of which can damage the kidneys. The typical diet that combines animal products, which of course contain cholesterol and saturated fats, and then trans fats and sweeteners, creates an acid load on the kidneys, boosting the ammonia production and potentially damaging kidney cells. Next point, do not be concerned about oxalates. I know that's contrary to a lot of what you hear, but pay attention here. Oxalates that are found in many fruits and vegetables have been touted as being responsible for increased risk of developing kidney stones. That's really a myth. Researchers have found that there was no increased risk of developing kidney stones with a higher vegetable intake. In fact, the higher intake of fruits and vegetables was associated with a reduced risk. This means there may be additional benefits to loading up on plant foods that go beyond simply restricting animal foods. There is no need to fear oxalates in plant foods. Next point, do not indulge in processed foods and beverages with added phosphorus. Processed foods, including cola drinks, often have additives in them containing phosphorus. At the same time, most raw meats and poultry have been injected with phosphate salts to preserve their color. In processed foods, they might be labeled as anything with the word phosphate, like in pyrophosphate and sodium triphosphate. In meat and poultry, injective additives may be labeled as flavorings or broth, or it might not even be labeled at all. Such additives increase the amount of phosphorus in the blood well beyond what is needed for normal functioning, and the overload may increase the risk of kidney failure, heart failure, heart attacks, and premature death. The only way to avoid this overload is simply to omit the foods from the diet. Next point, do not smoke. Well, we know that tobacco use has long been established as a risk factor for kidney cancer. Nitrosamines, which are types of carcinogens found in cigarette smoke, are so harmful that secondhand and even third-hand smoke are also a concern. So what is third-hand? That's the amount of smoke that might be stuck on the walls or in your clothing or some other pieces of furniture, something like that in the area. And carcinogens of this strength in any other consumer product designed for human consumption would be banned, according to a leading scholar in the tobacco control movement. Unfortunately, meat is an exception. One hot dog has as many nitrosamines as 4 cigarettes. Bear that in mind if you like your hot dogs. You better not eat very many of them or very often. What to do? Substitute animal protein with plant protein sources. When we eat enough calories from whole plant foods, we really truly do get enough protein. There is no question about that. But if you're concerned with eating a large amount of protein, substitute plant protein sources for animal foods. Beans and peas, lentils, nuts, and seeds all contain a lot of plant proteins that should meet anybody's needs. Got that? Anyone. In numerous studies, plant proteins have been found to help preserve the function of both healthy and even ailing kidneys. Since plant proteins don't cause the inflammation that animal protein sources do, plant proteins are a lot healthier for developing and maintaining healthy kidney function. Next point here is eat a plant-based diet to prevent kidney stones. Eating a plant-based diet alkalizes the urine, which helps to prevent and treat kidney stones. The incidence of kidney stones in America has increased a lot since the 1950s because of the increasing consumption of animal protein. And that includes meat, poultry, and fish. If you're prone to developing kidney stones, it would be wise to really reduce your consumption of those foods and transition to a more plant-based diet. I do hope this helps you out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will address them the best that I possibly can. Again, I suggest you get this book. There is no substitute. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye for now.